Welcome to Being at Home with George during the time of COVID. Excited to be here and just thinking about this idea of creating the possibility of embracing whatever comes up and at the same time generating hope. And today I'd like to talk about this idea of discovery and self-knowledge. From my own experience and from my sense of things, we are all dealing with challenging situations and challenging things that are in front of us. And it's a matter of choice. Something happens, and then we can interpret what it means. And I like to interpret things in a way where I choose to see it as a challenge, and it connects me to power and hope in a sense that there's something that we can learn, but it's generating that hope, generating that energy, that faith, optimism, and hope, or what we call the Hall of Fame, HOF. And that something happens, we get to interpret what it means. I've been reading this book, Discover the Power Within You by Eric Butterworth, and it has some amazing quotes in there. All discovery is self-discovery, and all knowledge is self-knowledge. And that paragraph really hit me. And why is it relevant? Because everything begins from inside, and everything is about the self. So all discovery is self-discovery, and all knowledge is self-knowledge. And Scott Peck talked about anytime we grow, all growth is spiritual growth. So there's something that's relevant about it being an inside job, and it's something that we generate. So the discovery doesn't generate us. We just generate the discovery by going from the inside out. And so I'm reminded we create with the word. I know that's in the Bible, and I know there's the book on the Four Agreements talks about that as well. We create with the word, and to be impeccable with our word. So we become what we think about. And as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And so what that is saying is things don't happen in a vacuum. They happen based on how we are being, how we are seeing, how we direct our attention. And the idea is we do create with the word. So whatever we hold in mind becomes manifest. And so we need to understand that. And so why is this important? Because right now it seems that we're going through a very challenging time. And this whole COVID process has been very challenging. And we've been talking about this idea of generating hope. Okay, we talk about the Hall of Fame, hope, optimism, and faith, that we need to generate those things. And so if we don't like what we're getting, we can change it just by changing our thoughts and our feelings and the way we look at it, basically changing our attitude. So that we have an attitude, like right now, you could say we're in this prolonged crisis called COVID. And even though we go up and down, there's another variant or whatever, or somebody gets sick or some things happen. And so we have to understand that in each crisis, it has two meanings. One meaning is danger, and that's the one we probably feel the most. But we also have to think about this idea of opportunity. And there's an opportunity here. And so when things are not going well, we can become reactive to it, where there's no space between stimulus and response, and just try to put out fires, or we can actually create space between stimulus and response and look at what's the opportunity. How do I generate hope? How do I look at things in a way where it's a stepping stone rather than a roadblock? And so this idea of seeing opportunities instead of seeing curses or seeing no opportunity or seeing that we're doomed. And so it's important now, as things are ebbing and flowing, that we need to focus on what we want, not on what we don't want. And so we need to be constructive, not destructive, or get into a malaise. So there's this poem I like to read. It's called Renunciation, and it comes from the book, The Power of Awareness, written by Neville Goddard. Resist not evil. There is a great difference between resisting evil and renouncing it. When we resist evil, you give attention. You continue to make it real. When you renounce evil, you take your attention from it and give your attention to what you want. Now is the time to control your imagination and to give beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. So this idea of understanding that, yeah, something happens, like I get a flat tire, and I can focus on that. Or I can say, okay, that's interesting. Let me call AAA, or if you have road service, if you have certain cars, they comes with the package. You get a road service, and you call a guy, and he comes and he fixes the flat. and I can ruminize about it, or I can just let it go and just get the flat fixed and focus on, okay, now my vehicle will take me where I need to go, and not to get despondent about it or be upset. And it's interesting in my case because when I got my new lease vehicle, they always give you the option to get the tire program. And there's been times in the past where I bought the tire program for protection against tires, and I paid a lot of money and I didn't have to use it. And so this time I was contemplating, thinking, I don't want to spend the money. But then something told me, that still small voice said, no, it's, you don't want the concern, because one time I didn't get the tire program. I had to replace all 4 tires. So I decided to get the program, and I had the car for maybe 2 months, and I ran over a screw. And sure enough, I had the tire program. I was able to go in and get the tire changed, and I didn't have to worry about having to pay for a new tire. It was covered. So the idea was, immediately after I seen the flat, is just to focus on what I can do. So this idea of you give beauty for ashes, when you concentrate your attention on things as you would like them to be rather than on things as they are. You give joyful mourning when you maintain a joyous attitude regardless of unfavorable circumstances. So I focus on, okay, I have a flat, but I want a tire that I can depend on and that won't lose air. And so I focus on what I wanted, called the person, came and fixed my car. Then I took the car in the dealership, got the tire replaced. And I maintained a joyous attitude instead of having that frustrating attitude about, I just drove to CVS, not even 5 minutes away, and I got a flat tire. And that you give praise for the spirit of heaviness when you maintain a confident attitude instead of succumbing to despondency. So for me, that's very interesting, because in the past, when I didn't have a new car or a car that was in great shape, and I had old cars where you get a flat and then you have to change it yourself. You have to, then you have to go to the tire shop. You have to go through all of these other things. And so it could be easy for me to go back into that mental space or to think about the times when it was really frustrating to get a flat tire. I didn't go there. I just noticed, okay, I got a flat tire, and I stayed confident. I stayed focused on the fact that I'm grateful that I could call somebody and they could change the flat for me. So even though I'm talking about a flat tire, that could be any situation. That could be getting a bill that we don't expect. It could be having to put new gutters on your house, or maybe buy a new car, or order a car and the car doesn't come. It could be a myriad of things. It could be that we want to get work done on the house, and because of material shortages, the workmen can't do the work because they don't have materials. So you can fill in the blank what that means or what challenges you are having. And the idea here is, like I said, it's going back to this idea that all discovery is self-discovery. All knowledge is self-knowledge. And so it's about the self. So we get to decide, and we are involved in what we discover. We are involved in how much we know of ourselves, how much we're committed to going inside. Because like I said in the beginning, this is an inside job. You have to go inside, and we create with the word. So we have to be very careful of what we are holding in mind, what thoughts and feelings we are entertaining. And if we don't like them, or if we don't like what we're getting, because we meet what we mirror, then we can change. And as we change, so will the environment change. So will what is in front of us, that will change. And so that's the thing here during this time in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And there may not be a lot. There might be a fatigue. It might be something like, okay, what's going to happen now? We still have the opportunity to focus on what we want, to stay focused, to give beauty for ashes, and concentrate our attention on things as we would like them to be. And we can give joyful mourning when we maintain a joyous attitude regardless of external circumstances. So that's an inside job. I can choose, and that's my motto, joy now or never. It's not like I'm going out chasing pleasure or anything. It's more about whatever happens, I get to choose in that space between stimulus and response. I get to choose my response to it, and I can respond with joy. I can respond to, okay, this is a challenge. It's going to be interesting. I can respond by, what is the lesson here? And once again, that ties back to self-discovery, self-knowledge. So it's a matter of choice. It's an internal game. It's an inner process. And our task is to remember, if we don't like what we're getting, we can change it by going inside and changing our thoughts, because we become what we think about. So why not think about grace, love, compassion, and joy?